we have looked at the medical implication of consciousness. What does it mean for someone to be conscious? And having checked that, we will be looking at consciousness as it applies to our everyday life. As it applies to our everyday life. When she was talking about consciousness, you will understand that consciousness is a very vital part of our living. It's very important. It's very important. Consciousness in itself is very important. The ability of a person to be aware of what is happening around him, it's very important, and you can't take it for granted. But now I want us to come to a point where we can see the direct application of consciousness in everything we do. How is consciousness affecting us? What does it do? What does it control? How are we controlled by consciousness? And then what's the ripple effect of consciousness in our lives and then activities we do? And that's why we are here. You see, that's the games we choose were very particular. If you observed these things, you didn't really settle down one day and then started looking at the Nike logo, and then you now notice that okay, this is the logo. Then when you close your eyes, you memorize. You no. You didn't do all of that to get Nike logo. You didn't do all of that to get Nike logo. What happened was that it was always around you. The guy that won the Nike logo plays basketball. So it's something that comes naturally for him. So when all of us might be thinking whether we are sure or not, he gets it easily. That's the power of consciousness. That's the power of consciousness. You see, what comes to your mind quickly is what you are conscious about. Anything you keep within the reach of your consciousness, it's easy for you to retrieve such information. So, yeah, we'll be looking at consciousness at being aware. That's what we'll be defining our consciousness as, the act of being aware. That's consciousness. Just, I want to make it as simple as possible. The act of being aware, deliberately being aware of what's happening around you, of your environment, of your surrounding, your ability to be aware. And before we go deep into consciousness, I want to also say something. There was something my friend told me one time, and the thing stuck with me. He said, none of us are actually pioneer of any ideology, that we are just a unique blend of different ideologies. So for the fact that you are thinking differently, or what you say is different from what people know, or you say some things and it sounds like wisdom, or you say something and it sounds like something nobody have heard before, the reality is that nobody is actually a pioneer of a new ideology. We're actually just a perfect blend of different ideologies. So everything you believe now, everything you come to realize, everything you are saying, everything you are confessing, everything you are arguing for, everything you are arguing about, all of them are not actually your ideology. You are a blend of different ideology. So what makes you different from every other person is that you are a unique blend of it. So it's maybe probably you the way you blended your ideology is what makes you stand out. So it's not like you are originally somebody that is different from, no, like what you think is different from what every other person know. It's not completely true. You're just a unique blend of different ideologies. And having understood that, that's one of the reasons why consciousness becomes priority. How do we become conscious? You see, the gateway to consciousness, or the gateway to that part of the mind that grabs information, because we're looking at consciousness now in relation to the soul and the mind. The gateway to that part of the mind that grabs information and retain information is your eyes and your ear. Is that simple? Is that simple? So whatever you are conscious about is what you can see, what you can hear, and then what you feel. What you see, what you hear, and then what you feel. That is the gateway to your consciousness. And then probably if we want to advance it to every other thing, we can now say what you can taste, and then what you can relate with. But you see, in reality, you don't even have a problem with those things. If originally you can't see and you can't hear, you won't even get close to tasting. Do you understand? Okay, so that is quick interruption. So I was at the point where I was telling you that you see that the gateway to your mind is what you see, what you hear. That is the gateway to your mind. Every other gateway is secondary. What you feel is secondary. What you taste is secondary. The primary gateway to your mind is what you see and what you hear. So now, if we all agree that we are blends of different ideologies, what it means is that probably what you are now or what you kind of stand for now is a function of what you have seen and what you have heard over the time. Are we on the same page? So everything that you are now, everything you believe, your whole belief system is built based on what you have seen and what you have heard. As simple as that is, that's it. So what you think you are standing for now, why you think education is important is because you have seen people go to school and they have made it. You have heard that people went to school and they made it. You understand? So it's not relatively, it's not primarily a function of what you feel in yourself. It's an ideology you built because of what you saw and what you heard. And these things comes together and form the framework of our belief system. And even the person that you see on the road, regardless of what the person is doing, everybody has a belief system. Everybody has a belief system. So what we intend to do in this webinar is to get to a point whereby we shift these belief systems. Like, how do you shift these belief systems? Some of us have grown up and we are acting a particular way and we don't like it. But we don't just know how we can't change. And it's difficult. Like, how can I change? Some people are primarily lazy. They just don't want to work. They just don't want to. And then sometimes you feel it is all natural. No, it's not. Something actually builds your belief system, builds your mind to accommodate that. And your body is actually subject to your mind. So if your mind can grasp it, your body it becomes a slave to the mind. So if the mind doesn't want to work, the body can't work. And then the gateway to the mind is what you see and what you hear. Do you understand? There are certain level of greatness some of us cannot vision. We cannot envision certain level of greatness. There are certain things that are too big for us. If you meet an average Nigerian, you tell him he will become the president of the country. An average Nigerian, if the person believes you, the person might just probably be someone that actually is a wishful thinker. Just he believes everything. Is somebody that is known to believe everything. But for somebody that is actually thinking and somebody that is deliberate about some of those things, he will think it's an impossibility. Why is it so? Because what is seen and what is hearing does not look like presidency. I don't know whether you are still following me. Okay, I hope you can still hear me. So that if you are not hearing me, you can just signal on the chat that you can't hear me, and then we will attend to that. If you can't hear me, just signal on the chat, and then we will know you can't hear me. All right, I think we're all together. Okay, if you can't hear me, you can't even hear what I said. Okay, if you can't hear that, we just concluded that the possibilities your mind can grasp is actually a function of what you are seeing and what you are hearing. If you check your immediate environment, it's easier for to see people that are studying medicine, to see people that are studying nursing, to see people that are studying some other professional courses, because to an extent your environment have empowered that possibility. So the fact that you see nurses every day, the fact that you see doctors every day, the fact that you see engineers every day, the fact that you see surveyors every day makes you feel that it's a possibility. Like, this is possible and it's an option. It's an option. So your choices primarily is not even a function of your desires in the first place. It's a function of what you can see. In school, I was this Boko guy. Not like I was a very serious Boko guy too, sha, but what I just knew was books. And then after books, the next thing I knew was fellowship and books. And in itself, fellowship and books is not bad for a student. When I started looking at certain people, and I discovered that these guys were able to match fellowship, were able to match school, and then somehow they started working out their careers while they were in school. What was the difference? Our minds were exposed to different things. Me, I came from a place where when you finish, you will get a job, and then that's how life starts. And then, but these guys were coming from places that were different, and somehow maybe the environment was not even too different. They were able to work on their mind and then break out, and they were different. So what am I doing now? Every young person I meet, I ensure the person doesn't make that exact mistake. That's the power of a mind that has broken out. That's why we are looking at consciousness. Because your mind doesn't break out. You see, what you see every day, what you see every day, what you hear every day comes to you naturally. If you check the short video I made before we started this webinar, the title of the video, one of the things I said in the video, the beginning line, the front line of the video is chaos is natural. Are you following me? Chaos is natural. So for you to do what you are doing, it comes naturally. For you to remain where you are is natural. And then when you stay there for long, I didn't even put in effort. What will happen is that you even start degrading, you start going back. But anytime you want to do something entirely different, it takes effort, it takes structure for you to do something that is different from what you have been doing before. Because chaos comes naturally. Are we together? So that's why there is a need for us to be conscious. And then what are we saying about consciousness now? Is that we get to that point whereby we begin to open our minds to certain possibilities. Certain possibilities. How do you open your minds to it? First of all, is as simple as it is that your cycles. I'm serious. Your cycles. Your cycles. I got into a room in my final year in the university. And then we sat down one day. That was not the kind of discussion I was open to. And then we sat down one day and they started asking. We were just roommates. And then we started asking each other, what do you want to do in the future? And then I was lucky, the question didn't start from me. So people started talking. And then the first guy started. And then when the guy explained his vision, I knew that if I've said what was in my mind, they will look down on me. So I was forced to expand my vision. So when they got to my turn and they asked me what do I want to do in the future, because like 3, 4 people have spoken before me. So I was able to start thinking of, but that was the first time I actually had time to accommodate something that big. If we sincerely look at you now and tell you, if we place 20 million in your hands, what will you do? Let's be sincere. Do you really have a plan for 20 million? Do you have a vision that can accommodate 20 million? And when we are saying 20 million, it's not like you now say, there's a way we do it. Like, what do you want to do with 20 million? And I'll be like, okay, like our nurse here, and I'll be like, I'll build a hospital. It's not, that's not part of the game plan. It's not part of the plan. It's just a way of excusing the question. So if we give you 100 million now, have you thought of a vision that you feel by the time you get 100 million, you should be able to achieve this? Have you thought a vision that when we say 1 billion, do you have a vision that can accommodate 1 billion? That's the power of the mind. So when you stand with a wealthy man's child now, you will actually see the difference that even two of you are stranded, like literally nobody has money with him. You discover that the guy's mind is still richer than your own because of the kind of things he has been exposed to. His mind is like richer than your own. I'm not talking of his pocket now. His mind is richer than your own. Because when you talk about 1 billion, he has plans for it. Yes, I think he's a serious guy. He has plans for it. So the kind of cycle you mingle with, there is a way it affects, it creates something in you. I'm going to subconsciousness. And I want us to just dwell on consciousness first. It creates something in you. The kind of cycle you keep, you have to consciously build those cycles to affect your consciousness. So what are your cycles? What are the kind of friends you do? What do you discuss with your friends? What do you discuss with your friends? Like when it comes to big things, do you have friends that can actually accommodate big things? There are certain people that they can't accommodate big things. They feel you are fake. Immediately you start talking big things, you start giving big things. It start looking like this person is doing too much. You are just saying, you don't even mean it, you are just saying it. There are people that really, really, really they can't accommodate big things. So my question to us now is that what are your cycle looking at? What's your cycle looking at? And then the next thing that affects your consciousness is what you do. Because these things we are looking at is they affect your what you hear, what you see. Your cycle show you your cycle. You listen to them, you see them. You see them. If all of us are friends here and I buy a car, we can all be colleagues. We can all be colleagues and we can all be trekking. If one of us buy a car, the rest of us will buy a car. I don't know whether you get what I'm saying. All of us are colleagues, so we're all earning the same salary. But if we are friends as colleagues and one of us buy a car, the rest of us will buy a car. Maybe we have been working for 20 years, nobody bought it. If one person buy, do you know what your cycle do? Your cycle creates possibilities. So if somebody in your cycle begin to do something, there is a way. I'm not talking about pressure now. No, I'm not talking about pressure, what people call pressure, and then you mount pressure. No, no, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just genuine, genuine inspiration. Because normally our salary we might be ticket is too small. But when one person buy a car, I suddenly start feeling this salary is not as small as I thought it is. And then I'll start looking for a way to actually get to that point where I can actually acquire this. So that's why cycle matters. Cycle matters. See, you can't really have friends that are in that place every time. You can't. But make sure that bad as a bad, you have like one or two people that can always empower your vision. People that you can talk to and you'll be like, hi, you I'm thinking about this thing, eh? The way the way children are malnourished in the north, I feel like I can do something about it. And then the person will not be like, well, leave that thing. Now you born there. You have somebody you can really think and be like, so what do you think you can do now? What's the step? Cycle matters when it comes to broadening the mind. Consciously choose your cycle. And then the next thing I'll be bringing so many things together now. We are already running short of time. Is that you should be deliberate about what you expose your mind to, your eyes to, your ears to on the media. Be deliberate about it. Be very deliberate. I'm not saying don't watch reels. I'm not saying don't watch. But I'm saying like use your data for good stuff. Use your data for good stuff. Use your data for good stuff. Watch things. Watch document like any possibility, anything you are planning and then you are beginning to feel is difficult. I will implore you that you should expose your mind to people that have done those things and then consistently expose your mind to their company. Consistently if you watch Elon Musk for 1 year and you watch every documentary of Elon Musk for 1 year, you you will you will start seeing some local projects as irrelevant. You will start thinking global projects. Are you listening to me? If you listen to Dangote for 1 year, you carry Dangote, you are listening to him, you are listening to him, you are listening to him. Anytime they say Dangote went for an interview, you pick the interview, you listen to it. You know, those interviews are one of the most boring contents to watch online. But you know that they are boring because we can't relate to them. It's not shit. Those contents are boring most times because we can't relate. You know that his fellow businessmen will not see that content as boring. They'll be looking, they'll be checking and be seeing there will be something they will drop. You know, those people don't give out their secrets anyhow. You have to be adding one or two together to understand what's going on. So for somebody that's already into business, will be feeling there's something they will drop here. Now, for you that wants to expand your mind, what you do is that you discipline yourself to stay on those contents. If you want to become a public speaker, listen to people that have have gone ahead, people that speak publicly. First of all, you listen to their public speeches, and then you listen to them talk on public speaking. You know, there are two different things. It's one thing to watch an actor act. It's another thing to watch an actor says this is how he does what he does. So when you want to go on public speaking, you listen to deliberately. Those contents are not usually nice. They are not usually nice. I tell you, they are very boring. Very boring. But I've trained myself to an extent now I can sit for 2 hours on a podcast. And I will watch it. I will pause if I'm going somewhere. I'll never allow it to play. I'll come back and I will continue. When I start the first 15, 20 minutes, I will get bored though. But I will stay with it. Because the truth is, if you are listening to what everybody's listening to, you can't be different. Because we just agree that everybody is a unique blend of different ideologies. So if it's what everybody's hearing, you are hearing, you might be a unique blend, but you might not be entirely different from every other person. Because you are not different from what you hear and what you listen to, what you watch, what you listen to. So if you don't start listening to what people don't listen to, You will hardly make that difference. So that is how consciousness comes in. You consciously discipline yourself and say, okay, this is what I'll still. I'm not saying don't listen to reels, don't. No, no, no. It's fine. Listen to as many reels as possible. That's no problem. But make sure that that data they are doing, because sometimes you think the excuse is data. You see, when you watch reels, you can spend 1 hour on reels you didn't know. You have watched like 30 reels in 1 hour. You will not know. But if you accumulate that data now and watch correct content, even you after watching that thing, you will feel something was added to you. And it might not relatively show now. It won't show now, but give it time. After 6 months, after 1 year, you will just discover that people will start telling you you are changing. There are certain discussions that might not interest you again. Because your priorities will start shifting. That is how we shift our mindset. Because if we continually listen to those things that every other person is listening to, by virtue of our foundation, by virtue of where we are coming from, for a good number of us, we're already disadvantaged. We are not exposed to these things. So you have to make that conscious effort to absorb this information. Make sure that these are the things you are hearing. Make sure that these are the things you are listening to. I'm serious. That is how the mind begins to. It's a gradual process. You see the way body lifters lift weight and then gradually muscle begins to build. That is how the mind will show up. So you are not small because you don't have potential. You are not even small because you are not hardworking. You can have potentials, you can have the talent, you can be hardworking, and you can still remain small. Why? It's because your mind cannot capture something big. You used to wish, how many of us wish to be billionaires here? You will be richer than Elon Musk in Jesus' name. Amen. Like that. But the truth is that you like this, if we, because those things are processes, they have steps, your mind cannot accommodate it. Your mind might not accommodate it. If we start talking to you about billions now, we start and we are really serious with you, you will discover that you might pull out. You might even get too afraid. Because the way our mind has been structured, you want money, but it's not. You want that billion, but I don't know how to put it, but it's not like it's the billions, like the billion. You just wish that billion can just be in your bank account, and it doesn't work like that. So there are processes to it, and if your mind is not ready for it, you won't be able to. Because to set up a multi-million company, to set up a billion-dollar company or a multi-billion, all those big companies, it takes a strong mind. It takes a strong mind. It takes a strong mind. Have you seen CEOs? Like have you seen those CEOs that have grown beyond average? Have you seen how they work? Have you seen it's a lot of work? And it's not even too hard if your mind is prepared for it. So that's why we'll talk about consciousness. And then the third one we're talking about which people don't like is books. It's that easy. Read books. Read books. Read books. I'm serious. Read books. Boring books, man. Read boring books. I'm emphasizing on boring. I'm serious. Read boring books. And you know the sweet thing about this thing? If you do them long enough, they become interesting. And then those things that were interesting now becomes boring. Do you understand? I can't remember the last time I sat with a movie. And me, I used to be this movie person. There was this season of 24. You know 24 now, this season movie. 24 by Jack Bauer. The one that was Jack Bauer was the main actor. There was a season of 24. I sat down and I think I finished that season at a city. That it used to be very long, very long. It takes close to 12 to 16 hours to finish a season. And I sat with it. What I will do is that because I was on campus, I charge the system. And then if the system is running low, I will export the next episode. I'll put it on my phone and continue watching. So by the time the phone will be getting low, the system they would have returned light. So I would now continue with the system like back to back like that. I was able to sit with this thing like that. But as it is now, I can't. No, I can't. What I'm saying is that if you give your mind to these boring things, there is a way your appetite for it begins to grow. It comes with a discipline, but with times your appetite begins to grow. And when your appetite begins to grow, you will discover that you are doing better than an average person. just because of the quality of your mind. Let me tell you something before I continue. Do you know that there are more money than there are more business to invest in? Are you listening to me? I heard one man said it. He said there are more money in circulation than there are more businesses to invest in. There are like there are people that don't know what to do with their money. They have just not found the right business to put their money into. So all this one that sometimes you are scared to start something bigger. If your mind can accommodate you, I promise you resources won't be a problem. I'm telling you now categorically, if your mind can accommodate it and you are knowledgeable enough, resources won't be a problem. I'm telling you. When I started learning Oxford, I just risked it initially. But I got to a point that I discovered that it's just knowledge I didn't have. If not, I was not even supposed to be stranded at any point. I'm telling you, there are people that used to tell me that, see, when you are ready for this particular phase of this project, let me know. I want to be part of it. I'm telling you now. Like, because the way Learners for this now, Learners for is bigger than what I thought it would be now. We have a school, a learning system. There is our app is even on the way. We'll be launching the app, I think, probably next month or so. And in the app is available for every student everywhere. Like every student, we need it. We have this part of the app that you can convert every PDF to questions. And then you can tell him the kind of questions you want, and then it will give you the question and the answer, and then you can take an aptitude test on the app. It's that simple. And then we have the school management system that have features that most of the current school management systems don't have. Like all of those things started, and it was just looking like the important thing was my mind was able to conceive it. And then when I started, I discovered that help started coming. Help started coming. It's just your mind that have not conceived it. That big thing you are thinking is just your mind that has not conceived it. If your mind conceive it, I promise you help will come. But this is what you do for your mind to be able to conceive something big. You need to work on the gateways to the mind consciously. Consciously. And then as we wrap up, we'll be looking at the effect of the subconscious mind. I have to rush now. There are things I'm skipping. I have to look at the effect of the subconscious mind. When she was talking about the medical, you see, unconsciousness and subconsciousness are medically the same. She said they are medically the same. But psychologically, this is the difference. You see, when somebody is subconscious, the person can at some point retrieve back those things that happened in their subconsciousness. Are you with me? But when you are unconscious, you can't retrieve them back. So we have consciousness, we have subconsciousness, we have unconsciousness. So if you are conscious, conscious is what you do with your mind actively involved. Subconscious is things that happened without your mind actively involved, but has an impact on your mind. And at some point, you might be able to retrieve back what happened. Then the unconscious mind is like they have cutting you off from consciousness, even though you are still alive. You understand? Now, what's the effect of the subconscious mind? You see, what we don't understand is an average human being is governed through the subconscious mind. What we have become is not what we consciously decided to become. We were wired subconsciously. How are we wired subconsciously? Do you know that for every movie you watch, you leave that movie with an ideology? Many of us agree. For every movie you watch, you leave that movie with an ideology. There is no director that writes a movie that doesn't have a thinking pattern before writing a movie. So that movie is consistent with his thinking pattern. When you finish watching it, what happens is that a part of his ideology rubs on you. So consciously, you didn't go there to learn that thing, but that is part of the things you picked. So if they want to introduce a particular culture and the culture is too harsh, what would they do is that they start subtly releasing it into movies. They release it into music. Music. Why is it like that? It's because when we watch movie, we are not usually too conscious. We watch movie with a relaxed mind. So we expect that our mind is operating on a subconscious level when you are watching a movie. You don't get too critical with a movie. Do you know that sometimes when we watch movie, in fact, we are more emotional than we are logical in movies? You can see arm robber want to die in a movie, but because the movie have made the arm robber look like he's the actor of the movie, we don't want the arm robber to die. I think I watched Money Heist, and then when this what's her name now? Eh? Tokyo. Was it Tokyo? Yes. When Tokyo was to die, oh my god, the movie just I thought became sad. Adult too. I was an adult when I watched that movie. Tokyo, somebody that went to rob bank. The person wanted to die. I was sad. Police were dying. I was not sad. Police died in that movie. I was not sad. What concerned me? In fact, there were police that wanted them to die because that's how the movie. What happened was that the movie actually subconsciously conditioned my mind to like those robbers. But you know that after that movie, my mind doesn't stop working like that. I don't know whether you are hearing what I'm saying. Do you know that I don't just finish that movie and then all of a sudden I just go back and then I like police now and I hate criminals? No. What it means that they have subtly created a soft spot for crime in me, subconsciously. So what it means is that if I get to a point whereby I see a criminal and I hear the criminal story, I will get a soft spot for the criminal. If the criminal makes me feel like it's like Tokyo in that movie too, it deserves a second chance, I will give him a second chance. So I will now support the side with the criminal over the law. What am I saying? Is that there is a part of us that is called the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind doesn't need your permission to work. And everything you see every day, everything you hear every day, builds your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind has as much effect on your mind as your conscious mind does. So everything that creeps into your mind subconsciously, what it does is that it creates something in your mind. So you just discover that there are certain things you are naturally afraid of. So if we call politics now, everybody doesn't want. But politics is a dirty game. Politics is this. If you want to become, if immediately I tell you that you become governor now, the first thing that will be there is the hate, so that you'll not be pursuing me. They'll not want to kill me. They'll not want to do me this one. The truth is that the person that is, and you are still seeing that the governor of your state, like 5 people are still coming and contesting. Is it that they want to die? No, it's that subtly they have sowed something into our subconscious mind that makes us feel that politics is too risky for us to survive. But they can survive, but we can't. It's a subconscious wiring. Are you listening to me? Let me tell you another dangerous subconsciousness that they have done to us as individuals, so that we can be rulable, so that we can be gullible, is that they have them consciously have subconsciously made our concentration span very low. Because the less we think, the easier we are to rule. I don't know whether you get what I'm saying. So that's why an average status is 1 minute 30 seconds. An average reel is 30 seconds. It's 45 seconds. It's 1 minute. Yes. Because now an average human being cannot pay attention for 15 minutes. Do you understand? So it's not like I'm saying that the guys that did the race wanted to condition our mind. Maybe they reacted to the frame of our mind. But what I'm saying is that our mind has been conditioned to pay attention little. So if you go to YouTube now and then you see a video, how to make money, and the video is 30 seconds or 45 seconds, you watch that video. If you see the one that is how to make money in 2 hours, you will not watch it, but you want to make money. Our mind, our concentration span has been trained. We don't pay attention again. And it's subconsciously they did it to us. Or we did it to ourselves. Let's stop pushing blames. Subconsciously we did it to ourselves. An average human being doesn't pay attention. An average human being doesn't pay attention. Do you know that almost everybody I reached out to about this webinar, they will now ask me what's the time? I'm like, the flyer is on my status, and the person viewed my status. The flyer is on my status. They'll be like, what's the time? So I don't know when is the date. Nobody is watching this thing, no. Nobody is reading this thing, no. The thing is on my status. Like as I'm chatting, the person is on my status. So person asks me what's the time? When is the date? I'm like, this kind of question is funny, but it's on my status. Do you know why? We don't pay attention again. We don't pay attention. I'm not saying even me inclusive. We don't pay attention. So now what we want to do is that the antidote to everything the subconscious mind have done is to consciously reverse it. Are you with me? The antidote to everything the subconscious mind have done is to consciously reverse it. I was told that the only intrinsic fear that a child is born with is the height and I've forgotten the other one. The fear of height and something. That is the only two fear a child is born with. That's why when you treat children are afraid. Like every other fear you developed it, you acquired it. So the fear of failure, you acquired it. The fear of the fear of the fear of being neglected, the fear of being rejected, and all of those fears you acquired it. So as we close, this is what I want us to close with. Let us make deliberate effort, conscious effort to reverse what the subconscious mind, what we have subconsciously be wired into. Are we together? Are we together? So as we wrap up on that note, that's what I want us to do. Let us consciously, and I'm saying it again, consciously reverse whatever the subconscious mind, what the subconsciousness has done to our mind. Consciously. So sit down and anytime you are afraid of something, why am I afraid? Start to trace it. Why am I afraid? Some of us is relationships. So just nearly just call relationship like this flight. Like you are so afraid that you just wish there's another way to get married without relationship. Let me just come and sit down inside marriage. And then you can start tracing that thing back. Where did it happen? And then consciously start working towards it. Yes, start working towards it. Maybe you're from a home where you saw violence. You saw how a woman can be mistreated. You saw how a man can be maltreated. You saw all of those things in a home, and then it has built a phobia in you. That's what happens in your subconscious mind. You didn't consciously build the fear. It's subconsciously built in you. What you need to do now is to reverse it. When you start listening to marriages, you start watching couples that are doing well. You start before you know, somehow that interest in marriage will start rising. There are good people there. There are good people out there. So what's the take home from this webinar? Consciously build it, build, build it. And God will help us as we do so. God will help us to build our mind. Thank you. Have you posted it? Okay. Aisa Adamu